All right, so game number 2 on Lost Temple here in the finals.
Link engaged.
We're here in the finals of TL Open number 14. Getting a lot of complaints, Artosis, that people aren't hearing your sultry voice enough, so I'll let you handle the introductions.
My sultry voice. I wish I knew what that meant. I feel bad, every time that I cast with anyone, they seem to have a larger vocabulary than me. I guess my brain just uses all its free space for StarCraft stuff. Well, we have down at 6 o'clock, the one, the only, the mouzMorroW, one of the greatest and most successful race switchers in StarCraft 2. And, of course, we have over at 3 o'clock, PraeNightEnD, a very famous Romanian Warcraft 3 player, very skilled player in that game, and showing us that he is no slouch in StarCraft 2. Notice, I want to point out, he has made his pylon at the top of the ramp, so once again, no Forge expansion. Sorry about that, Chill.
I'm really disappointed, but you know what I am excited about? Did you see that little probe take a little scoot to the top left? That's scoot with 2 O's, not a scout. Which also probably sounds like Scoot to everyone hearing me. But regardless, did you see the probe move to the top left to check for overlords? Very nice.
Oh, yes, indeed, Chill. No one is hating on your Canadian accent. That's fine. He scoots about his base and scouts the overlord if he can. But yeah, you have to do that as a Protoss player. If you don't do that and you know there's a close-by air spot, then what are you doing, man? You need to actually scout.
Mm-hmm. See the gateway down now, going up to 15 supply NightEnD, taking his assimilator, using his chrono boost liberally, now starting to save it looks like. No, actually drops it on probe production, so that's nice to see. Probably going to drop another pylon right by his main nexus. Meanwhile, morouRW, I feel like I'm watching a looped replay because I've seen this build many a time, putting the 14 spawning pool down and then the extractor, 4 Zerglings expand.
Well, here's the thing about morouRW, and he's always been like this. StarCraft 1, StarCraft 2, Terran, Zerg, doesn't matter. He gets a build order in his head, he's like, you know what? This is the build order for me. This is the best build order in my opinion. And he will actually do it every single game and just know all the branches, how to counter everything with it. And that's how he'll play. And, there is something to that. It definitely makes you into a pretty solid player, even though not one that's very tricky.
Yeah, and I think something that you pointed out is really key there is knowing all the branches. So if you're playing all these different builds, it's really easy for you to get in a situation that you're not familiar with. And I think you mentioned that in the GSL we saw people building 2 Baneling nests and things similar to that, where you're just not used to this situation. But if you're someone like morouRW and you play the same build over and over and over again, you know exactly how it branches out, you know how to respond, and that gives you a lot of comfort when you get in these situations that you've run through, dozens of times.
It also makes the most of your practice time, which actually is going to mean more tomorrow than most other players. Switching a race definitely makes it so that you are behind other players of the race. Players who have played Zerg since the beginning of the beta are going to know all sorts of build orders and how they branch out in various ways. Whereas morouRW, coming from behind, hasn't had enough practice time with Zerg, so just choosing 1 or 2 builds and really getting to know them is going to help him to catch up and play at the level that, NightEnD is, who has been playing since the early beta.
Yeah, very true. We see NightEnD dropping 2 more gateways, so going to follow up similarly to how he did in game number 1. Again, I want to point out morouRW's Overlord movement. He's got 1 sitting here at NightEnd's natural, just up on the cliff, so he can spot any army movement. He's got 1 sitting on his own main base cliff to give him advance warning of any movement there. And he's got this other one at 12 o'clock flanking around very safely so that he can use that to check for any drops, any hidden tech. And he really hasn't put that Overlord in danger from marauding stalkers. So I really like the way morouRW handles his Overlords.
Marauding stalkers, do those slow the Overlord down? Alright, well, yeah, using that Overlord on the side, he can dart in, see any tech, but NightEnD going to go with this very safe 3 Warp Gate Sentry expansion. I love that build in PvZ. It's so safe, and the coolest part about it is you get so much Sentry energy that whenever you do move out, I mean, you have force fields, huge amounts of force fields. So, I mean, you can just force field all day long. Oh yeah, man. Lots, so many force fields.
All right, there's a soundbite everyone was waiting for. Now, if you're mouzMorroW, you're put in this position last game where NightEnD took his expansion, and it was really easy for you to take the gold base. Now, mouzMorroW is in a bit of a situation where he can't take the gold base. It's too close to Protoss. So where does he stretch out for his third base? Does he take a secret base at 12 o'clock? Does he try to take the other gold, or more likely the 9 o'clock natural? Or does he just go for a timing attack?
Yeah, I mean, that is the question, isn't it? mouzMorroW already preparing, though. Notice he has a Zergling at each Xel'Naga Watchtower. In close positions like this, you absolutely have to know if any probes come out, because that's the thing. If you expand over to 9, and they have a pylon over there because they snuck a probe out, suddenly you lose your hatchery to 3 Zealots, and that is, easy to say, not a good thing. So mouzMorroW looks like he's going to go over, take either 9 or the 9 natural, and he's just going to have to keep complete map awareness. If any warp-ins occur over there and he loses that hatchery, that can absolutely cost him the game.
Yeah, I'm watching this drone that headed over to 9. It went to the natural and patrolled around. Now it looks like he's suddenly made the switch over to the destructible rocks, and nothing wrong with that. Roach is moving up, gonna take that out, and he's gonna try to take the gold base. Meanwhile, what is NightEnD following up with? Looks like it's gonna be very, very similar to what we've seen from last game. 3 warp gates, now making the robotics facility, starting the +1, and he's got yet again that single cannon to stop any shenanigans, any sort of burrowed roaches, and to give him a little bit of defensive control on his natural.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the thing here is going to be when NightEnD actually starts getting a good amount of Colossi out, he can just go and push. Last game we saw he took that gold base. That's the right thing to do in Xel'Naga. It's a long map. You can't just make him and be like, all right, time to kill him, and attack, move across the map. Here, though, he absolutely can. It's just such a close rush distance. There's only one big open area right in front of the Xel'Naga Watchtower, but still, if he controls his army right, his force fields will come into play there. Notice mouzMorroW has actually set up his units in a nice arc around the area where he can come out. So that's basically, I think, what we're going to see mouzMorroW do this entire game. Just make a bunch of units, make them in an arc outside of the natural of NightEnD, and try to crush him whenever he comes out.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think something we can say about mouzMorroW is he's really good at getting a little advantage out of his position, even if it is a disadvantageous position here. We can see he's got his units and his hatcheries rallied directly to the best point to fight. This is the biggest point on the map. As you said, this is where mouzMorroW wants to fight, and he's already there. So really strong move by him. Really, he's really playing well, I guess, is how I can try to put that. He should probably begin starting the creep spread so that he can get creep out to that area, reinforce quickly, and have more mobility if he needs to flank when that battle actually begins.
Yeah, that's very true. Getting creep out there ASAP is super duper important. He wants to have creep everywhere there, so when he moves in and out, he can actually do it very quickly, very dramatically, and take out as many units as he can, get away from force fields, stuff like that. Now, he's droned up the gold base. Looks like he's going to send a queen cross map. She's going to tiptoe there very, very quietly. But yeah, there's not a lot of creep over here, and mouzMorroW just now in his main base throwing up a Spire. So I think we're just going to see Roach, Ling, Corruptor, which I think that's a good choice in these positions. I mean, the Hydras, if you don't have creep there, the Hydra's going to be quite useless.
Yeah, mouzMorroW beginning his creep spread. He's got 2 creep tumor trains on the way, and NightEnD looks like he may want to get aggressive. He's only got 1 Colossus out. Now switching over to Immortals, actually. He's got 1 Immortal out, and he's chrono boosting out number 2 and 3, so that's a little bit strange for me, but maybe he has correctly identified that there are no Hydras out. It's largely Roaches, so Immortals may be nice if he can get them up to those 4, 5, 6 numbers when they really start to pay off for themselves. So I'm really interested if NightEnD was able to correctly see that there was no Hydras and made that conscious switch, and I really believe he did.
Well, he's playing a pretty complex mind game here is I think what's going on. He used his Colossus, he walked over. The Overlord definitely saw it before it died. So Morrow, his Spire is almost done, and well, NightEnD deciding to press the issue. He's going to have to use some good force fields, and Morrow, half of his roaches stuck behind the force fields, the other half running away very quickly, realizing that there are a lot of immortals there. He may want to switch over. Oh my god, he's actually right now in the production tab making mutas and lings, and here we go. Half of his roaches again behind force fields, but finding a little way through. Will he be able to kill this death ball from NightEnD?
Yeah, Guardian Shield going up. A lot of Protoss units are still alive. Taking a look at the supply now, we've got 107, and that is GG. Oh my god. Really surprising play there, but that is what happens when you're close by land. PVZ on Lost Temple. Morrow got broken, knew there was no coming back, and decided that ship has sailed. Let's move on to game number 3.
Wow, I gotta tell you, I wasn't expecting that game to go so quickly, and kudos to NightEnD for just taking that out, switching over to Immortals real quick, and hitting that razor-thin timing where, Morrow didn't have any Hydralisks and didn't have any Corruptors and didn't have any Mutalisks. Morrow was trying, I think, to press a little bit too hard. He was kind of teching 2 mutas and fully droning his bases, so NightEnD definitely punished him there, and the score now 1-1.